There are 7 places you can go to have a nice dinner at Moon Palace. Happy to report that the food and service at dinner lean more towards 5-star than 4-star. I ate at every restaurant on property, which were easy to get into as I simply made reservations on the Moon Palace app. Agra is a hidden restaurant, which only unveils itself at dinner time when it becomes the property's Indian restaurant. Agra is known as the sun deck at all other times of the day. There isn't a full transformation that happens to turn it into Agra, but the small touches they do are very well done. It's not like they can or should change the view, which is beautiful. My reservation was at 6 p.m., so as I dined, I got to watch the sunset. That had its pros and cons. Pro, as I said, is the beautiful view. The con is that I couldn't see my food once the sun went down. Make sure you get a table under a lamp, otherwise you'll be dining in the dark. The meal began with a welcome, non-alcoholic beverage. I don't recall exactly what was in it, besides being lemonade-based. Wasn't a bad drink, but it tasted watered down. Many resorts have an Indian restaurant on property, but many don't taste very authentic. I'm surprised and happy to say that Agra's offering all had authentic flavors. All dishes were delicious, so if you like Indian food or want to try Indian food for the first time, don't skip Agra. Pier 8 isn't outside dining. I believe this is called open-air dining, meaning the restaurant has a roof but no walls. Whatever it's called, it is a very nice atmosphere. Actually, my favorite dining atmosphere at Moon Palace. I ate at Pier 8 twice for dinner and noticed there was a different feeling to the restaurant depending on where you are seated. If possible, request to sit close to the entrance and not up the ramp. Sitting near the entrance to Pier 8 is closer to the beach and water, giving a better view of the sunset. Moon Palace calls Pier 8 a Jamaican steak and seafood restaurant. That is an apt description, as the majority of the dishes do have a Jamaican flair to them. That's evident with the starter they bring to the table: fried plantain chips with a pineapple mango salsa. My ribeye steak was fantastic. So fantastic that I tried to order it during my second dinner at Pier 8. Unfortunately, they ran out of the rib steak and New York steak, which was disappointing. Pier 8 is a don't skip, but if you are going specifically for a steak, ask ahead if they have the steak you want. Thankfully, I was able to eat at MOMO. That's unusual for me, as MOMO is the property's teppanyaki restaurant, which normally I skip. Well, I did skip it. That's confusing. Let me clarify. MOMO does offer teppanyaki tables where you sit around the chef while they make the food in front of you. I skipped that part of the restaurant. MOMO is the best of both worlds, as there are also regular tables you can sit and order off a menu, which I did. In fact, I ate at MOMO twice for dinner, as certain dishes were so good it was worth going back for. On the off chance you do want to reserve a teppanyaki table, but can't, don't worry, because you'll still catch the show, as the a la carte tables are close to the teppanyaki tables. As I mentioned, I ate at MOMO twice, but they were very different dining experiences, as I learned from my first experience what not to do during my second experience. The main courses were very disappointing. The curry, for example, had zero flavor. When I ate at MOMO the second time, my dining companions and I simply ordered a bunch of the shareables. Our table was filled with sushi, baos, and sashimi. MOMO is a don't skip, but you may want to skip ordering a main course. Yes, the jerk hut is open for lunch and most of the afternoon, but then it closes so they can get ready for dinner. Why go for dinner when you can just eat there for lunch? Well, that's the same question I asked myself, which is why I never ate at the jerk hut for dinner. The biggest difference between lunch and dinner dining is at dinner, you'll be seated and given a menu. The dinner menu is also larger than the lunch menu, but as the mains were pretty much the same, I didn't bother. The jerk hut food is fabulous though, so I do recommend giving the jerk hut a try for lunch or dinner. Describing the food at a buffet is always difficult since there are so many dishes. Not everyone will like everything, but there is something for everyone. This is an example of the types of food you would typically find at the buffet during dinner time. I don't consider the buffet at Moon Palace large. Fortunately, all the dishes have flavor, and you will be able to find something to eat. As I was eating my dinner at the buffet, I said to myself, I wish I went to dinner at the jerk hut instead. But I do have to try all the food to give a full review. In no world would I ever recommend dining at the buffet over any of the other restaurants at Moon Palace. The buffet at dinner is a skip. I love that when I stepped into Gondola, it felt like I was transported to Italy, or at the very least, stepping through a portal to another place. Moon Palace did a fantastic job on making all restaurants feel unique when entering. Gondola is the Italian restaurant on property, and most certainly the fanciest restaurant on property, but fortunately, the dress code is not strict. The Moon Palace app does clearly list the dress code for each restaurant. I wore nice shorts, shoes, and a collared shirt for most meals. I've never been to Italy, so I can't claim authenticity, but I do feel the flavors were fresh and flavorful. If you are at Moon Palace and looking for a fine dining experience, make a reservation for Gondola. More videos to come covering Moon Palace. Please subscribe and click the bell so you're notified when I post the next video. I'll see you on the next one.